When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Thursday morning. Today we're talking about drug use. And I'll tell you what, we have some shocking developments here as far as heroin use here in the Central Valley. 436-ME-TV, option 11. You're welcome to call in anytime during the next 60 minutes or so. Back in a moment. Friends, it is Ask an Expert Day here on Connect with me, and we do have an expert here in the house today to talk about heroin use and other drug abuses, of course, across our land and here in the Central Valley. But before we get started here today, I do want to congratulate the Golden State Warriors, because I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan for a long time. They are going to the NBA Finals. They're going to face LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavs. Game 1 is next Thursday night at the Oakland Coliseum. I still call it the Oakland Coliseum Arena, even though it's Oracle Arena, because that's what I grew up with. Anyway, the last time the Warriors were in the NBA Finals, I was 1 year out of high school, 1974/75. That's when you had Rick Barry playing for the Warriors, and then Al Attles was the head coach. You had George Johnson, Clifford Ray, Phil Smith, and all the rest. And 40 years of disastrous basketball in Oakland, and finally they reached the pinnacle again. We'll see if they can beat the Cavs in the NBA Finals. Hey, a big reminder here, you're watching us as usual, my friends, on Comcast Channel 187 live. That's on Comcast each and every day. But if you don't have cable, you can watch us on 43.6 or 13.1 live. And then the replay comes over the air broadcast at 13.6 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 4.6 Biz TV at 8 o'clock at night, and the Twitter account is at John Mallos Me TV. A very serious topic here today, and we're talking about drug use again with one of our experts here. Been a while since he's been in the house, but I'm glad he's back here, because if you have grandkids, kids in the house, you might want to listen up. According to Lisa Smitkamp, she is the new district attorney right here in Fresno County. She says there is a growing concern of heroin use in every single high school in the Central Valley. Let's go to the videotape, show you exactly what I'm talking about. Heroin. I mean, that thing, that was very popular when I was going to high school. In fact, the drug use is so widespread, she says, it can be found in every single including the high school that your son or daughter are attending right now. The drug is so widespread, it can be found everywhere, not only in high schools, but everywhere. Pretty alarming, if you ask me. Smitkamp went on to say that these drug dealers, users, abusers, whatever you want to call them, are causing much of Fresno's crime and gang problems right now. The drug even reached the highest level of Fresno Police Department recently. Deputy Police Chief Keith Foster was arrested by federal agents on charges of a conspiracy to sell oxycodone and heroin. And the abuse is also taking its toll on local emergency departments, straining the region's network of drug treatment programs. And it's not just here. Across the country, use of heroin doubled since 2007, I should say, especially on the East Coast. States like Maryland and Vermont, it is skyrocketing. Also, the shocking death of Oscar-winning actor Philip Seymour Hoffman brought major attention to the abuse and the use of heroin. Live in our studio right now is Flindt Anderson, the Executive Director of PAIN. What does PAIN stand for? Prescription Abusers in Need. He knows about drug abuse. He is a recovering one himself. He knows all about the effects of heroin and its use here in the Central Valley, or should I say abuse. 436-MeTV option 11 if you want to call in. We've got the next 56 minutes or so here on the program. You can call and ask our expert a question on heroin use, abuse here in our area. Back in just a moment.
Frigidaire. It means the first electric refrigerator, the first compact electric range. Now, there's the Frigidaire Gallery Range with Symmetry double ovens. It's designed to cook multiple dishes at multiple temperatures, so you can prepare the entire meal at the same time. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
We need help to find this missing child. Hallie Cummings was 7 when she went missing. She was last seen in Satsuma, Florida in February of 2009. This is what we believe she looks like today at age 11. If you have any information, please call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. That's 1-800-843-5678. Please help bring Hallie Cummings home.
Back here on the program today, and I got to tell you, my friends, we do this program mainly for you. You know, Mark Sheeran, the owner of Ventura Broadcasting and Ventura TV, this place has been here since 1951. He decided to align himself with MeTV, that's Memorable Entertainment Television, a network out of Chicago, and develop this local program to inform you, the viewers. And that's what we're doing today. We're trying to inform you, and the information is, it came out in the Fresno Business Journal, and I believe the Fresno Bee recently. This is the article that I have in the Fresno Business Journal talking about the use of heroin here in the Central Valley. It's skyrocketing, found in every single high school across the Central Valley, according to the DA, Lisa Smitkamp. Flindt Anderson is here. You're the Executive Director of Pain Prescription Abusers in Need. Welcome back, Flindt. Why the rise in heroin?
Well, John, I think, you know, one of the reasons simply is that most of these kids start out in the medicine cabinet with prescription opiates, which are the painkillers, which is the Vicodin, the Lortab, the Norco, those kinds of drugs. And then, of course, they get to OxyContin, and usually that runs about $80 per pill when they're buying it on the street. And heroin is at an all-time low. It's about $10 a bag. It's the best quality Fresno County has seen in about 30 years, and it's easily accessible. They can find heroin better than they can go in and buy a six-pack of beer somewhere.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. It is that abundant. And again, the prescription painkillers are simply a synthetic form of heroin. It all comes from the poppy plant. It's all the same drug. Heroin's just cut with something different so the dealer can make more money.
Which one is more potent?
Actually, it depends. Heroin is probably more potent, depending again on the quality of it, and again what it's cut with, or how much or how little. OxyContin, though, for the most part, is the drug that if you really want to get that high, that's the drug to use.
Yeah. But what you said, it was about $10. Heroin is cheap. You can buy it cheaper than say a six-pack of beer. But why? Why is the price down? What's driving the price down, which is driving the use up?
Well, again, price goes down, use goes up. It's pretty simple economics.
What's driving that price down?
You know, I got to tell you, I really don't know for sure. But obviously, they're getting more and more clients, if that's what you want to call them. The drug dealer is, because the price is down.
Wow. So does that mean that there's more heroin available? So there's more out there, and that's why the price is down too? That could be one reason, right?
That could be one reason. There's lots of drug dealers that are now getting involved in this, and so, you know, everybody's trying to make a buck here. And the fact that it is that most of these dealers are actually going to our local high schools. I could have heroin probably delivered to any local high school in 15 minutes if I actually wanted to.
You could probably have it delivered here within about 10, 15 minutes, right?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
We got a phone call coming in. Good morning. Caller, you're on Connect with Me. Your question, please. Caller?
Hello?
Hi, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes. I just was wanting to speak up about the heroin issue. My youngest daughter has traded her children for heroin use.
Wow.
Yeah. Are you still there? Are you still there, ma'am?
Yes, sir, I am in Tulare County.
Okay.
She left him in Exeter with a man named Harvey Hernandez. And when I reported it to the policemen, they said that as long as they had permission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay, do you have a question for Flindt? I'm sorry to hear that story about your daughter, but do you have a question for our guest today?
That it was okay.
What's that? Okay, you're kind of cutting in and out. Okay, that's kind of a heartbreaking story
Yes,
for
it
someone
is.
to trade their kids for heroin. Is that a common story that you hear?
You know, that's not a common story, but it's not out of the realm of possibility at all. You know, when you're addicted to opiates at all, whether it's a prescription drug or whether it's heroin, people don't understand the drug addict is going to do anything and everything they can to get that drug into their system. It is that powerful. It is that addictive. Most drug addicts, I got to tell you, because I'm in recovery, we're not bad or evil people.
Right.
We simply got hooked on a drug that we don't have any control over. Because again, most people don't understand what the addictive qualities of heroin are.
What can you put it into words?
I'll put it into the best words that I can. Heroin, again, and I always have to associate this with the prescription opiates. What they do is they attack the pleasure receptors in the brain and our central nervous system, and they stay there. The easiest way to explain it is called it has a half-life, which basically means that these drugs don't even start to leave your system for about 24 hours, as opposed to alcohol that will leave your system in almost 24 hours.
So it stays there.
It just stays there. It camps out there. It does its job very, very
Forever?
well. No, it doesn't. So it builds up that tolerance that we have to have more and more and more. Because again, it's affecting our dopamine receptors, our pleasure receptors, and it's giving us that pleasure. So when we drop that down, when we don't have it, that brain goes nuts and our body starts to go nuts as well. And that's, by the way, the number one reason why people don't stop using is because they were deathly afraid of the withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the withdrawals. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes. In the medical field, if the person has a problem, they're normally sent to what's called diversion, like nurses and doctors and pharmacists and those in the medical field. And they estimate about 10% of those of the total individuals in that field have a drug problem, have used drugs, or may be using drugs currently. Do you feel if somebody goes through the drug diversion program because they're medical and they're licensed, should they be actually should the clients be informed that their doctors did have a problem with drugs, and so that they can go and figure out if they want to go to them or not, or should that be a private affair between them and the state? That concludes my comment.
Okay. I still think that needs to be a private affair, to be honest with you. But on the other side of that coin, I also believe that those people that went through the diversion program need to be drug tested. They need to be accountable. They need to be constantly monitored through their employment.
Okay, thanks, caller. Caller, a new caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, John.
Hi.
First of all, let me say I was a teenager in the 70s. Some of the kids started doing heroin. Junkies then are the same as junkies now. The first caller needs to call CPS, Child Protective Services.
I agree.
Not the police. Tell them what's going on with the daughter. Now, my biggest issue with drug use in the Valley is not so much heroin, but you can go to Courthouse Park and stand across the street from Casino One with the police officers there and cameras, and they are smoking PCP and methamphetamine, and they go nuts. I ride the bus. They will walk, and I'm disabled. They will walk up to you and just like start handling your objects like there's some foreign, you know, from another planet or something, like they've never seen it, and they're driving cars. I recognize the smell of methamphetamine now, and when I'm walking through parking lots, I smell that smell. And regarding alcohol, that too escalates to delirium tremors. If you've ever seen someone in delirium tremors where they think insects are crawling out of their skin, all substances that have the potential for abuse, if you abuse them, it's the people that I knew that did heroin, they were all dead by the 80s. One a shotgun blast to the chest or OD'd. One sat in front of a train right over there by the Wishon underpass. So, but you're absolutely right, John. The reason why, if the price is down, that means there's a lot.
Yeah.
When the supply dries up, the price is going to skyrocket, and then you're going to have people desperate, like your guest is saying, not wanting to go through the withdrawals, and then you're going to have crime going up.
Yeah.
That would be the cycle.
Okay.
So the answer is to give them some hope when they're young, give them an education. They might be growing up in a home like the first caller talked about. And those kids, who knows what's going on with them? They could be already sold into the white slave trade, and by the time they're 13 years old, be on the street with a pimp, you know. Unfortunately, that's the way that all that stuff works.
Okay. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Any comment?
You know, first of all, I do have to say that the methamphetamine problem is enormous in this area, and it is across the country. Methamphetamine is just dirt cheap to begin with, and a lot of heroin addicts do use meth because they want to snap themselves out of it, so they just have that high and low feeling all the time.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, we're talking with Flindt Anderson. We got to go to break here, but if you are so inclined, you really do need to pick up the Fresno Business Journal. I'm trying to look at the date here. It's April 10th, 2015. That's the issue, and that was right on the front page, talking about the high school use. It's right there below the fold, talking about heroin abuse. It's on the rise here in the Central Valley, according to Lisa Smitkamp, the Fresno County DA. And we're going to talk to Flindt more about what kids and what we can do to try to prevent our kids from using it and abusing it. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Hey, very important if you've got kids or grandkids going to high school right now. Doesn't matter which one. They're in all of them. Back in a moment.
You can watch Dr. TV on over-the-air channel 13.9.
We need help to find this missing child. April Andrews went missing when she was 15 years old. She was last seen in Pea Ridge, Arkansas in November of 2006. This is what we believe she looks like today at 23. If you have any information, please call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. That's 1-800-843-5678. Please help bring April Andrews home.
Back here in our program talking to Flindt Anderson, the Executive Director of Pain. I'm glad he's here talking about this heroin use that's on the rise. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'd just like to ask a question with Flindt. Now, in my case, of course, I'm in the old generation, but in my case, when I see a lot of foot traffic in the areas that we grew up, I did that about a year ago because I was seeing a lot of foot traffic and selling, all kinds of prescription drugs and heroin and this and that. And most of the users that I saw coming and going, picking up, were, kids out of high school. Okay, so I would watch this for maybe 6, 7 months, and I knew that the people that were living a couple houses down were doing other than just saying hello. So I got informed with the DEA, and then and that was a part of it that I did. I just left it alone after that because you don't want to get involved too much other than what I did. But I believe that the program that he has needs to get into the junior high, because I've seen kids, 12, 13-year-olds already drugged. I mean, it's not a matter of marijuana or whatever. They're into the heavy stuff, prescription drugs, because a lot of grandparents have, prescription drugs and all that, and they go into that, So that's how they doing it. In our days, it was just marijuana. Right. But what can we do? I mean, as a parent and a grandparent, to keep an eye on our kids and see a change in their attitude. Does that necessarily mean that they're into it?
Great question.
Great question. And I'll tell you what, my friend, the best way to get involved with this, and you're right, it starts at the 6th grade level and the 7th grade level, and not only trying to educate the student or the child at that point, but educating the parent. Yeah. That is critical. But here's the problem. The schools, for the most part, and I adore the schools, and they do lots of good things for us, but they really don't want to get too involved in this unless they're not equipped. We have made efforts to get in touch with these schools and to do it, and they allow us in on occasion to come in, but there's nothing continuing with that. The other issue is the parental side of this, because most parents, in fact, 98% of parents don't want to realize there's a problem or that their child will never, ever do this. And the fact of the matter is that every kid knows about drug use on their campuses because it's so rampant. 98% of our clientele actually comes from the Clovis Unified Schools, from Bullard, from San Joaquin Memorial, Fresno Christian, and now the outlining areas like Kingsburg and Dinuba. But as a parent, what you continue to do is you continue to call Chief Dyer, who's a friend of mine. You continue to call Margaret Mims, Sheriff Mims, who's a friend of mine. You continue to call Lisa Smitkamp, who is a friend of mine, because the more noise we make as a society and as parents, somebody's going to listen somewhere and at some point.
Yeah, we need more guys like you in Fresno. I don't know why there are not more people like you. I mean, you're a gem, my friend.
Well, thank you.
You're a diamond in the rough here because you're here for a reason. And I'm not trying to suck up to you here, but I mean, you don't just talk the talk. You have walked the walk, and you know what it's like to be a drug user.
Yes.
You know what it's like to be addicted.
Right.
So when you talk, do people listen because of your past?
They do. They do listen, and it's interesting. We've seen 600 families in the last 4 years, and we've sent over 250 people to treatment in the last 4 years. Because I don't mess around with this. I'm here to tell the truth about it. I think there's too many treatment facilities out there that are just taking people's money because they can. People have to understand, and this is the real truth about drug addiction. It never, ever goes away. There is no cure. If you're watching a television program and they say, we can cure your addiction, or I was a drug addict, but I'm not anymore, that is all a lie. It is, and that's what parents don't realize. It never, ever goes away. And you have to ask yourself this question. If there was a cure, then why isn't everybody cured? Why are relapse rates, for teenagers at 3%, or recovery rates at 3%? Yeah. Why are relapse rates for the 18 to 30-year-old at 7%, and for us old guys 11%? Those are lousy numbers.
Yeah, you don't want a guy like me speaking in front of a crowd of high school kids. You want a guy like Flindt Anderson. He's lived it. He knows it. He's experienced it firsthand, and now he is talking about it. Caller, are you there? Go ahead. Hey, caller. Hello. Caller, are you there? Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air.
Oh, am I on?
You're on. Go.
Oh, okay. I'd like to make a point that I do believe wholeheartedly that once you're an addict, you're always an addict. But I think the two biggest problems in this country is not the heroin, the cocaine, and this and that. A youngster's first exposure to drugs is alcohol.
You're correct.
That's where they start. They start with the alcohol.
He's right.
And then they want to get something stronger and stronger and stronger, and eventually, some of them eventually end up on cocaine and heroin. The other big drug of choice is the cigarettes. Combined alcohol and tobacco far exceed the damage done compared to other drugs in this country. And until they get a handle on that and really get rid of smoking and get rid of alcoholism, you're never going to get rid of any addictions.
Is he right? Is that where it starts?
You know, first of all, you always, I think he's half right. The tobacco issue is kind of a pick your battle kind of a thing, you know. But you ask me, you ask any good recovering person, any drug addict, what did we start with? We started with alcohol and marijuana. Nobody starts out and raises their hands and says, I want to be a heroin addict when I grow up.
What was your drink of choice?
You mean my drug of choice?
When you started drinking.
Oh, when I drink, it was vodka.
That's what you started
that's
with?
That's what I started with.
And then you moved up to what?
And then it was all the opiates. Then it was all the painkillers. It was the benzodiazepine, the Valium, the Xanax, those kinds of things.
And then heroin? Did you do heroin?
You know, no, that I really didn't, because
Okay.
I was more of the pill guy.
Yeah.
But again, people don't understand. I was doing about 70 Vicodin every day. And
wait a minute.
Yeah.
You mean 7-0?
7-0, and people.
How did you not die?
Well, that's the ultimate question, is why I didn't die. Because when I walked into treatment, I basically, you know, in 2001, my final inpatient, I weighed about 145 pounds. I was losing the teeth in my mouth.
Wow.
But again, if I would have started out using 70, yes, I would have been dead. And a lot of people go, whoa, when I say that. But it took 23 years to build that addiction up to that amount of pills that I took. And if there were more, I would have taken more.
Caller, are you there? Go ahead.
Good morning. How are you? I have a problem. The police say, get involved, be on the lookout for any suspicious characters or anything going on in your neighborhood. Well, I've got this thing that, I don't know if anybody knows, but north of Fresno, there are two big-time dealers. Now, the problem here is that every time they were going to get raided, they were warned by one of the policemen. They had a couple of policemen in their pocket, and this I know for sure. So how do you deal with this? I mean, how can you get rid of something like this when the police is working against you?
You know, you have a great point, and again, you know, I'm a big police fan. I truly am, but on this topic, I have my battles with them simply because they don't think that these, even though we think they're big-time drug dealers, they're not big-time to the police department. And they're not going to go after what we call small-time drug dealers. And again, I think that's a shame. I mean, I know. There's, according to our sources, there's a house right across from Faulkner Elementary School that the guy's sitting in there, and he's selling prescription drugs all day long. All right, but the police haven't gone and raided his house or popped him.
You know this for a fact.
I know this for a fact. Faulkner Park over there is a huge area where kids go and buy. You've got corners of Herndon and West where people go and buy. Starbucks are big areas where people go and buy and sell drugs.
Herndon and West. These are affluent neighborhoods.
These are affluent neighborhoods, you bet. And again, the police, whether they're not manned, whether they're not staffed properly, maybe it's just too small time for them to deal with. Plus, the guy's going to be out in a couple hours, so they don't give that any mind. But something has to be done. I mean, look, I'm one of the fortunate ones, John. All right, I should not be sitting in this chair today. I should have been dead a long, long time ago. There's a reason why I'm sitting here. I'm not afraid to make noise. I'm not afraid to get up in somebody's face and tackle this drug problem head on. There's a local high school here that has lost 18 kids to overdose postgraduate since 2005.
Tell me which one.
Buchanan. Okay.
How many?
18 that we know of.
Wow.
Okay, that we know of.
Affluent area again.
You bet. Again. But it's just not the Clovis schools that are having this problem. It's every school. It's Roosevelt, it's Sunnyside, it's Fresno High, it's McLean,
Bullard.
it's Bullard, it's San Joaquin Memorial, it's Fresno Christian, it's Edison, it's all of them. People need to wake up. If you go online and look at statistics, you will be shocked at how many. By the way, drug overdose now kills more Americans every year than motor vehicle accidents. That is a fact. What is wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture? Why aren't parents waking up?
And I got to take a break here, but I want to ask you when we come back, what aren't we doing to solve this problem, and what can we do to solve this problem here? The usage up in high schools, according to the Fresno Business Journal. Got to pick this up, or get it online too. You can read the article online. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Back with more of Flindt Anderson in just a moment.
When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
We need help to find this missing child. Erica Parsons was 13 when she disappeared. She was last seen in Salisbury, North Carolina in November of 2011. This is what we believe she looks like today at age 16. If you have any information, please call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. That's 1-800-843-5678.
Back here on the program, connect with me on MeTV Fresno, talking about drug abuse and heroin use up. Okay, quickly explain what PAIN does. That's your organization.
You bet. First thing we do is we speak all over the country, and we go into schools and we give them our presentations. And I have to add this, John. Things like Red Ribbon Week and the DARE program and those kinds of programs are basically ineffective with kids today. Every study, and they are. Have
you told any of the school districts?
Yes, I have. And by the way, every study and statistic will tell you that these programs are ineffective.
Because
because it's another day for the kid to get out of school. It's another day for them to go, and they make fun of of the whole drug process. It's more of a fair than it is an educational based program. Then if you're dealing with the DARE program and they bring in 5 felons, most kids can't relate to 5 felons that are tatted from head to toe. But when you bring somebody in that can come in and talk about their experience and really tell them what it did to them, then it's the different story with these kids. Okay, but high school kids, look, for the most part, any drug presentation is going to go over their head in about 2 weeks.
What do you do to help them?
What we do as an organization, we give the parent and the young person a place to go. We refer to inpatient, outpatient programs. I'm very, very particular on where I refer. I've been into 3 different inpatient programs. I know what can work and what most definitely does not work. We deal with one physician. I have a major issue with physicians, and especially psychiatrists that are just prescribing drugs to prescribe them. That needs to be curtailed some way.
You probably can't mention the physician.
And I can't. And I can't. But the fact of the matter is that exists. So we refer to one doctor and one doctor only.
Can you name that
person? And him I can. His name is Dr. Brad Wajda, W-A-J-D-A.
Yeah.
And he's very, very good at what he does. Our treatment centers, we have 2 that we refer to, one in Santa Cruz, one down in Northridge, California.
Yeah. Caller, you're on the air with Flindt Anderson. Go ahead. Caller?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was listening to some of the callers about why the police aren't doing anything. Police departments in California, I don't know about other states, they're not going after little drug dealers, small-time dealers, because there's no money involved. They lose money. And the only time they go after the drug dealers when they know there's big money involved. Am I correct?
Okay. Thank you very much. Well,
yeah, he's right. He's right. There's other quote bigger issues that the police are going to have to deal with. But but seriously, what's a bigger issue than this? Because drug use is, I think, is the catalyst to crime in general. It's the catalyst to rape.
Well, that's what
All right.
Smithcamp was saying
Well,
in
and
this
Lisa's,
article.
She's absolutely
she's
right.
saying that this problem is leading to all the other types of crimes that are going on in the Fresno area.
Right. And let's just take this topic for a second. Let's talk about school bullying. All right. Again, you don't think a drug usage has a role that plays in bullying? Of course it does.
Yeah.
I mean, until we all wise up, we're in trouble here.
All right, this article I've mentioned here half a dozen times on the program. Okay, it's the Fresno Business Journal. Talks about it right here below the fold, shows all the needles. By the way, we have a picture of a box of needles. Is this the primary, is this how you primarily use heroin, through needles like this?
Well, yes and no. Because you have to start with, let's say, the 22-year-old. They're usually not going to go right to the needle at first.
They're not?
No, they're going to snort it first.
Heroin?
Heroin.
I thought you snort cocaine.
Well, you do, but you snort heroin. You can snort OxyContin. You can snort Vicodin. You can snort anything.
Okay.
So they usually snort it, they smoke it,
wow,
and then they inject it, because after a while, snorting it doesn't get to the bloodstream fast enough. Smoking it doesn't get to the bloodstream fast enough. So you have to get that high, and you have to get it quickly, so now you go to the needle.
Okay, let's roll a videotape of heroin, and I'm not even going to describe it. Why don't you look at the screen, Flindt, and describe what's going on in terms of heroin use and how it's used. What is this here? What are we looking at right there? What's that? Can you tell?
Well, I'm having okay. That's a spoon that they're cooking it up in. All right, because they heat up the heroin, then they draw it. They draw it with the syringe, through the spoon, and then they inject it. Yeah, those.
So they pour it out in a liquid form on a spoon, and then
it goes in it's the sticky form. Okay, and they add a little fluid to the spoon, then they heat the bottom of the spoon, and that brings it into a liquid form.
Yeah, we got a call coming in, but go ahead and describe what we're looking at here. Obviously, a user. I'm going to ask this caller if you can please hold until we get through this videotape here. Go ahead.
Okay, let me just say this about this video. All right, and this is showing basically a drug den. Okay, on some warehouse floor on some poor side of town somewhere. This isn't the reality. Okay, the reality is we've got kids that are doing this in their bedrooms at home.
In Clovis, in
Northwest Fresno, all over the place. Yeah. I mean, I remember I had a family walk into my office about 2 years ago, and it was the middle of July, and they were concerned that this kid was smoking too much pot.
What is this right here? Oh my God. I guess
he probably lost a hand to some
But he's
sort
getting
of
ready to inject right there, right?
Oh, yeah.
And is that what's going on?
Right.
Okay, and that's what you're... oh, I see what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
That's how it's done, huh?
Yep, that's how it's done.
Okay, and this is what, I mean...
That's the blood going back up into the syringe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And now he's going to inject, I would assume.
And he's going to inject. And those are all the track marks on his arm. Look how dirty he is.
And you can get all kinds of diseases with needles like this, hepatitis C, and all the rest. I think we've probably seen enough of that video. Do we have a call? Is there a caller waiting? Caller, are you there? Whoops, he was there. Well, be patient with us, please. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Let's put up a picture of Philip Seymour Hoffman. You know the story with him. You know the story with Deputy Chief Foster. What can we do? We know that high school usage, it's in every high school, usage is up. So since we have this information front and center, right in front of us here, what can we do about it? What should we be doing?
Again, John, it comes...
Hang on, caller.
It comes straight down to educating parents. Look, I had to realize a few years ago that we're not going to save everybody. It's just. I mean, you take Philip Seymour Hoffman. I look at that picture and I just get upset, because here's a guy that just wasted talent, and actually he was clean for a number of years and he relapsed.
Took one drink, I believe. Was it? That's what I read.
That's what we read.
I don't know.
And we'll never know for sure. But the fact of the matter is that relapse is always possible. And here's a guy that all of a sudden, when they found him, they found boatloads of heroin, you know, in his place. Man. And this is after being years of clean. So whether I have 15 years or 5 days, I didn't use yesterday. I doubt very seriously I'm going to use today. And tomorrow, I'm going to think about tomorrow. All right. I mean, I don't
guarantees,
and there's no guarantees. No, I can probably tell you I'm not. Okay, but do I live in my addiction? No. Am I always aware of it? Every day.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Malice, I'm here.
Go ahead. You're on the air, my friend.
Yes, I was the first caller, and we were cut off. And I just want the people to know, Mr. Malice, I did go to the police. I went straight to the police. But I'm in Tulare County, and here child trafficking for heroin is rampant. And I have the corruption problem, too. And I have to be very careful whom I call and even who comes to my home, Mr. Malice. And it is my grandchildren, and my daughter manages to do this every day. Her heroin problem is up to $1,000 a day. And she traffics the children with Harvey Hernandez's sister-in-law, Marisol Rios from Exeter.
Well, ma'am, stay on the line there.
It, Mr. Malice, and my life has been threatened to keep my mouth shut.
Stay on the line.
You're trying to help the people. Your guest is trying to help the people. And I also wanted you to know your film entices an addict. Lighting the candle entices the addict. Watching it cook, it's all passionate to them and romantic.
Okay, I want you to stay on the line there. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, Flindt, what can you do? Don't hang up. She's there. Okay, Flindt, what can you do to help her? Can you give her a phone number that she can call you?
Yeah, she can give us a call at 559-579-1551.
Okay, one more time slowly.
579-1551.
Did you get that, ma'am? Did you get that telephone number? Hello?
579.
Go ahead.
1551.
Okay. Go ahead and repeat that.
579-1551.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Please call that number and later in the day and talk to Flindt and you know, maybe you can do something to help her.
Yeah, there's probably, you know, this is a tough one because, and again, this is what everybody needs to understand. Once the addict gets to a certain point, it's going to be up to them whether they want the help or not. We can get them places, we can refer them places, but if they don't want the help, what do you do?
Yeah, no, she's in Tulare.
Right.
And that number one more time is
579-1551.
Okay, so first caller, ma'am, if you're still watching, we do have a call. Caller, I'm going to ask you to wait and be patient until after the break. Got to take a break here. The number to call Flindt at his office, Payne, is 579-1551. So please give Flindt a call after the program or later today, perhaps tomorrow. We'll see maybe what Flindt can do to help you out. We're back on our program here in just a moment.
You can find movies on over-the-air channel 13.3. Movies. Our name says it all.
Hello, I'm John Walsh. We need your help to capture this fugitive. Francisco Molina Nieve has been on the run since March 2008. The police and the FBI need your help tracking this coward down. He's wanted for brutally beating his girlfriend and for the use of a firearm. He has 3 freckles and a crescent shape under his right eye. Call the Colorado FBI at 303-629-7171 if you know where he's hiding.
A lot more ground to cover here on Connect with Me. The signs of heroin use, I want to put those up on the screen right now. And Flindt, you can comment on these as we kind of take a look at them. And there are quite a few signs. I hope you can read all of those.
I can.
7 of them.
I can.
Okay, I got to put my glasses on because it's... Anyway, so the eyes have dark circles, but that could mean anything.
Yeah.
It could mean lack of sleep, for God's sake.
Yeah, but first of all, yeah, those are all good, all right. But what you need to start noticing at first are some of the ones that you're not going to really look for. Missing spoons in your drawers. We tell moms, go in and count the number of spoons that you have in your in your drawer. If you find any tinfoil in your kid's bedroom. Because if they're smoking it, there's a black mark that goes underneath that tinfoil, and that's just not normal.
Missing money?
Missing money, missing items from the house. There's this. I like to smoke. Most of these kids smoke today. Let's just face that fact. If they are smoking tobacco more heavily, yeah, that's usually a sign. Are they wearing long sleeves a lot?
Oh, to cover up the needle marks.
Cover up the needle marks. And in particular, are they wearing them during the summertime? You know, you have to ask yourself as a parent, you know, when your kid walks in with a hoodie and long sleeves and it's 120 outside, you know, gee, what's wrong with this picture?
Yeah.
Parents just have to be smart. The nodding off, everything else is good up there, yeah.
Caller, you're there. Go ahead.
Yes. What about legalizing drugs and using that money for rehab and helping those who want to be helped?
Okay.
Because that seems like a reasonable alternative to the insanity we're going through right now.
Yeah. Okay, legalizing marijuana. They did that in Colorado, and where else?
Well, let me tell you something. You're talking to the wrong guy about legalization of drugs. All right, because no.
What do you think about what Colorado did?
I think they're in for a world that they have no idea what they're getting into. Now you have now because of marijuana, you can put them in candies, you can put them in chocolate, you can put them in anything that's edible. Now they've got an increase in emergency room visits for little children because little children see a piece of candy sitting there. They don't know it's laced with marijuana. Okay, what is wrong with this picture?
Withdrawals, heroin withdrawals. We've got the signs. You probably know about this way more than most of us. We put 7 on there. We probably left a ton of them out. Go over this list if you would.
I already did, John, and I got goosebumps because that's it. You guys nailed this one right on the head. This is, and even though I'm looking at this, I still cannot explain to you the feeling of withdrawals. You want to die. It's that simple.
So number 1 is right on, huh?
Is right on. And again, if you're what we call kicking, if you're detoxing, if you're withdrawing off of these drugs, and if you're not doing it medically, it's gonna take about 2-3 weeks for you to start to feel normal again. And there's no reason why people have to do this cold turkey anymore. There are medications that we use today in order to reduce that down. Now, some people will argue that, oh, that's the easy way out. Well, let me tell you something. Especially if you're an older opiate user, you can have a stroke. You can have seizure from withdrawals. If you're using you bet. And if you're using a benzodiazepine, by the way, which is a Valium or a Xanax, and again, anything I say here, I invite everybody to Google it. Look it up.
You experienced it.
And I experienced this stuff. You can actually die from Valium or Xanax withdrawal from benzodiazepines.
Right, facts about heroin. I know we got to take a break here in a couple of minutes. I want to put at least a couple of these up before we go to break here. We got about 10 minutes left. Here's fact number 1. About 13.5 million people in the world take opiates or opium-like substances, including 9.2 million who use heroin. That's fact number 1.
Right. Yeah, you're actually right. In fact, there's approximately 370 million Americans today, and this is an interesting fact, and we use 99% of the world's Vicodin supply.
Hey, that's fact number 2. Is that right on, pretty much?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely it
You
is.
can get hepatitis B and C,
Right.
HIV, of course.
Right.
That's the big one. That's fact number 3. Heroin is a derivative of the German word I'm not sure I can pronounce that. Do you know the pronunciation there?
I do not. I've never
All
heard that
right. If anybody knows, call in.
Right.
Okay, it means heroic. So do you have, when you use heroin, I wonder if you have the feeling of being a hero.
You have a feeling of complete pleasure. But
I wonder if you feel heroic in a way.
I don't know because I remember.
Did you ever feel that
when
you took pills?
Well, it always gave me an original kind of up feeling, not a cocaine feeling. All right, but just that okay, now I'm ready to go kind of a thing.
Yeah. Here's fact number 4. And these are not fun facts, my friend. I'll tell you that right now. Two of the most serious long-term effects of heroin addiction: heart disease and liver failure.
Well, and again, I can talk to that. I had a heart attack and open heart surgery and everything else because of my drug use.
Yeah. How about fact number 5? Heroin addict spends between $80, $200 a day to maintain heroin addiction. 200. So a druggie who doesn't have a job, where's he getting $200 a day?
Stealing it, either stealing it from mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles. The big one now is what they'll do is they'll go into Walmarts or Target stores and they'll steal something out of there. Then they will then they'll wait an hour and then they'll take it back in and with the and look for receipts and stuff in the garbage cans outside, and they'll take it in and get the cash back from the Walmart store.
All right, we'll go to fact number 6 as we take this call here. Next one, Ara. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, I have a comment. On the use of drug addicts, I believe that some people, depends on their position, and if they are involved in drugs, most of the time people will keep it under the table and keep it hush. For instance, we had an individual that was involved in cocaine, and he was reported to management, and management kept it under.
Yeah.
And that goes all over the place. That individual was middle class individual going up the ranks, made up to high management, and now he's a high ranking city official.
Okay.
So drug use, depends who you are, people kind of accept it. And what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, in essence, what he's talking about are businesses, okay? And it costs American business today about $70 billion a year in lost time, in insurance costs, in replacing employees and rehab. It is an enormous figure that business pays today.
Put up fact number 6 again there. Look at this. Back in 1898, what the typical drug user was there in Britain, and now today the typical user is an 18-year-old male.
Yeah, I don't know about in 1898 and the woman in her 40s, but again, all of that in 1898 was legal.
Yeah.
It was called laudanum. It was called all kinds of different things. But yeah, that's a correct statement.
Number 7, fact number 7. We'll go to that. And heroin can be sniffed and smoked and injected and all sorts of things, right?
Yes.
Flindt.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's right on the money.
Yeah. How about number 8? Most common street names used for dealers are what? What you see up on the screen there. I think I've heard it most as black tar.
Black tar, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, there's probably 50 other names besides those, but yes.
Yeah. How about fact number 9? Is this true here?
Yes,
pretty
it
much?
is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Also, there you go, Afghanistan.
Yeah. And fact number 10 about heroin use is heroin is highly addictive drug that is processed from morphine. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, it's seed of the poppy plant. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Exactly right. So what do you make of what happened to Deputy Chief Foster reaching the highest level of the Fresno Police Department? Jerry Dyer, of course, looked shocked, bewildered, stunned. We have another call coming in, but go ahead and answer Hang on, caller. We'll get to you in a moment, caller.
Look, I don't know all the details with Foster, but look, John, all I know is what I do. This affects everybody. There's not a person out there that's not affected by drug use of some kind. I can't make any accusations here until everything comes to light.
Were you disappointed?
I was extremely disappointed, but to be honest with you, I'm not surprised because there's nothing in the drug world that surprises me anymore.
Yeah. Caller, are you there? Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, your guess is right about the pills, but with the amount of Tylenol, acetaminophen, and the quantity of Norco, that'll shut your liver down.
She's right.
Be very careful of that. Now, what all people need to be aware of, when you pick up your prescription medication, go over the side effects with your pharmacist. The paperwork that you get at the pharmacy, you have that shredded. If you leave that out where your kids see it, they know what you have. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't put it in your garbage can, because junkies go through your garbage can, and then you're going to get ripped off for your drugs.
Yeah, she's
These
right.
are some tips. The other things you do is you count your pills on a regular basis,
She's right.
daily. If
Yeah.
you're supposed to take one every 6 hours, Norco, you count every day. You keep them in a place where no one knows where they are, except for maybe your husband or wife.
Okay.
You don't let your kids know that you have these drugs in the house. You don't have a lockbox. That's obvious.
Yeah.
You have they sell the lock boxes in the pharmacy, but you can talk to your pharmacist, and you use the same pharmacy always. You can ask them for safety tips, and if you don't finish your drugs, they will have a list of places where you can take those drugs and dispose of them.
Okay.
But those are the ways to keep your teenagers from starting experimenting with drugs, is to keep them away. Treat them like you would a gun, you know?
Okay.
They're just as lethal as a gun. It just takes longer.
All right, ma'am. Thank you for the call.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. You know, and in fact, that's what people don't understand. Most of the normal pain pills, Norco, Lortab, Percocet, those things actually have acetaminophen in it, and that is the compound that is going to affect your liver more than the actual hydrocodone.
That's almost the catalyst to liver failure.
Yes, it is. Yes,
so
it is.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, because I know it's kind of a sensitive issue, and your organization working with some of these school districts and schools. But you know what happened at Kingsburg High School. Very sad, related to drugs to a certain extent. I'm talking about the 2 suicides that took place over there. You have limited information that you can share with us, or comments that you can make, I should say. Let me clarify that. Just, I know you have to limit yourself.
Right, and
because of privacy issues.
They're privacy issues, you
Yeah.
bet. And these 2 young people are now deceased, and we don't want to throw anything or anybody under the bus here. Okay.
Absolutely.
But I'll say this: my first reaction to any suicide with a young person is always, was there drugs involved? And
usually is there.
There usually is. Some kind. Now, it may not be heroin, it may not be OxyContin, but it could be a antidepressant of some kind that they're taking, or they're not taking enough, or they're taking too much, or the parent let them go ahead and medicate themselves. You know, who knows what the story is, but 9 out of 10 times there is usually a drug involved with teenage suicide.
Or not enough, in terms of depression,
right?
Right,
right.
Flint. Oh man, what a story!
Sad
it's heartbreaking.
Story. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. We're out of time.
John,
come back.
Always.
All right.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for
Before
having
the
me.
end of the year.
I will be
come
here.
Back.
I will be here.
All right, Flint. Always good to see you.
Same
like I
here.
said, man, you're a diamond in the rough here. Thank you very much for your time and your contribution to this area. I appreciate it. Flindt Anderson of Pain. And once again, I want to give that telephone number out, and it is 579. I wrote it down.
1551.
All right, 579-1551. See you tomorrow with another edition of Connect with Me on Me TV Fresno. Have a good day.